Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us this evening. If you would please, in lieu of a prayer this evening, we're going to take a couple of minutes to stand in a moment of silence for the 18 people that have passed because of Hurricane Florence up in the Carolinas. So if you would please rise and join me in a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Calling me to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Buck.
Here.
Councilmember Doherty.
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman. Here. Councilmember Thomason.
Here.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson. Here. Mayor Latham.
Here. And we'll move right into approval of minutes, 18-170, please.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the special city council meeting held September 4th, 2018.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 171.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the city council briefing held September 4th, 2018.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 172.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held September 4th, 2018.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Announcements. Mr. Vogelsang.
I was at the Jags game yesterday, and it was a pleasure to see the salute to Bill. And he was clearly emotional down there on the field, but it was neat to have that relationship with the Jaguars and the first responders, because it's been touchy for a little bit. So to start to build that back was much appreciated. So shout out to the Jags, and then obviously it was nice to see Bill get that warm welcome. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Wilson.
Ditto to what Phil said. It was very nice to have him on the field there and be recognized. So very much appreciated. And also the car show, I believe, is tomorrow night, Tuesday evening. So just FYI. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay, moving forward with courtesy of Florida visitors. First on tonight's agenda is Liz Stewart. Liz, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
Thank you for allowing me to speak for just a brief moment. I just wanted to bring to the council's attention the ongoing situation of short-term rental homes in residential family neighborhoods. It is somewhat personal with me in that the home in question is directly across the street from my home. We live in a young community near Sunshine Park. Lots of kids, lots of animals, lots of young families, and this particular residence is being marketed on the various different rental homes by owner, vacation homes by rental, home away, you name it, they got it. They are advertising for up to 18 people in that single family residence, maybe 2,500 square feet tops. There is inadequate parking. There are loud and boisterous goings on any given weekend or during the week when, you know, frankly, people have jobs, they're trying to get to sleep, they've got kids. Please police have been out numerous times because of this particular situation. It has come to my attention that the LLC that owns this particular property has now bought the adjacent property, 2509 St. John's Boulevard, and is attempting to renovate with the same forward progress. He was granted a variance not long ago to put in a deck, pool. I don't know the pool if that was ever actually given an okay on, but he got an okay a week or so ago at the planning and council meeting. I have been called recently and been asked if I would be interested in selling my home, as several of my neighbors have as well. We have a real concern about the safety of our families that live in this young, vibrant neighborhood. The kids and the families that use Sunshine Park, which is immediately adjacent to this, these properties in question, and we're hoping for a resolution somehow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. And I know you were at the meeting we had with Senator Bean and
Yes.
Representative Byrd.
Yes.
And for the benefit of those who weren't in that meeting, this is a problem we've been working with for quite a few months now, particularly with Matt Landy, who started this concern.
Yes.
He lives immediately adjacent to the house in question.
He does.
We are taking some action locally. We are able to do things that, again, for the benefit of the people who weren't there, there's been some preemptions established by the legislature that prohibit us from taking action in several different regards to that property. What we can do, we are working on. And do you have any update, Bill, on where we are with?
I haven't, no, sir, I was in a town.
I hate to
Let
put,
me yield.
I hate to put you on the
No,
spot.
sir, I was out of town all last week. Our city attorney staff is working on a resolution. Part of that resolution is going to be involve staffing to enforce it, which I don't have at this time, so we are proceeding forward with the regulation.
Okay, and I just want to make you aware, Ms. Stewart, and anybody else who's from the Horn Court, Osceola area, that, you know, we're taking this very seriously and we're working as best we can. As you know, we've worked directly through the legislators, and we're working on anything that we did before 2011, we're able to continue with, and that's what we're doing now, is taking pieces of that potential enforcement, and without getting into too much detail until we get it approved, I can assure you we're working hard on it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Bill, one quick question.
Sure.
Um,
I'll get it.
Bill, or council, I plan to bring this up at 6 o'clock tonight. And the question I've got is, I'm sorry, I forget her name. She mentioned that X number of people were gonna be staying there. Wouldn't the bedrooms still prohibit that under our, when we do address this? If it's got 3 bedrooms, wouldn't they be limited to 6?
I understand the question, but that kind of crosses several different codes, because one's for about occupancy versus the building code. From a zoning perspective, not necessarily, except for the fact that we define what a family unit is for a single family dwelling, and it's no more than 4 non-related residents. That being said, that's why our city attorney legal staff is working on that, because people have been unsuccessful in making that argument going forward. So that's part of why this is taking a lot of time. It crosses a lot of fronts and a lot of, excuse me, sorry. It crosses a lot of different bodies of regulation, which is, it's a hard beast to get your arms around.
Yeah.
We are trying though, and there are some steps we can take. I just can't tell you for one specific property what that's going to remedy or not at this point.
Well, anyway, I appreciate your.
Yes, sir. I mean, believe me, it's way on the front of our radar.
And Liz, I have to confirm on the record, your address is 1125 Osceola?
Yes, sir, it
Okay,
does.
thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing I'll mention to you, since we had our meeting in the conference room upstairs, I actually met, there's a group of mayors on the West Coast based out of primarily Pinellas County called Big C, the Barrier Islands group of councilmen. And I met with them in Orlando. I've agreed to set up a similar type of thing on the East Coast using our colleagues on the East Coast. It's the barrier islands and Orlando are the only ones having this problem. That's why the legislature's not being real responsive, because the majority of the 160 legislators don't have constituents that care about it. So we care, and we're working on it, and we'll do the very best we can to get it resolved as quickly as possible. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Greg Kenny. Greg, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for your time, members, Mr. Mayor. I'm really going to
Sorry,
my address is 1061 Osceola Avenue,
Thank you.
Jacksonville Beach, Florida. I'm really going to kind of parrot what Liz was saying. My wife has been involved, and she's not able to attend today. I think, you know, besides the number of people that are being in there, that he's advertising it as, hey, this sleeps 15 people and it's a real party house and things like this is I think where the rub really comes against us. And the fact that he's buying the house behind him, kind of monopolizing that whole corner between St. John's and Osceola, St. John's and Horn on Osceola, and it's kind of turning it into a fraternity row, which I think our concerns are really about. You know, he says no parties in there, but with 15 people, you know, I mean, that's a party to me. But the other concern we have is this LLC is basically being charged residential rates for, you know, all his resources, including water, electric, garbage, sewage, etc. And you know, it's something that may need to be brought up in the future, and we just have a concern about it. Liz pretty much hit the whole ball, hit the nail on the head on everything. And Matt's not here, who was involved in this, and my wife Lorraine, who was involved in it too, can't be here. So we're just speaking on behalf of our neighborhood. Thank you very much for your time.
Sir. We'll do the best we can, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ellen Foley. Ellen, if you come forward, give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes, ma'am.
I've never done this before.
You're off to a great start.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Ellen Foley. My address is, I have to remember it now, I've only been here a year and 3 months.
4235.
4235 Marsh Landing Boulevard, Jacksonville Beach. I am here to talk about something absolutely fabulous and wonderful. It has touched my heart, my soul, when I got down here from New England, to know that something was alive and well, and I never knew it before. It was still in Massachusetts, so perhaps I should not have come down, I don't know. But I am enjoying my time here. The thing I want to talk about is the game of croquet. Have any of you ever played croquet? Please raise your hand if you have, please. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you haven't, but you will love it if we can get it in, okay? And this is the game. I played in the 50s and the 60s, and I thought the game went away. I didn't know it came back in the 70s and continued on as a professional game. And I get down here, and I've had my ups and downs, but I'm not going into that. What my thing is, I want to see a public venue for the game. And when I ride around and I see Jacksonville Beach Public Golf Course, I'm thinking, my goodness, what a place to put croquet. The two go together. And I'm thinking to myself, I've got to find people to speak to about this. So I have heard that you are renovating your golf course, and the intent perhaps might be to bring in other sports. I am asking you to really think this through, that the game is very much, right now that I see, higher echelon, very pale, if you will. I want to see this game be Black people. I want to see it to be Native Americans. I wanted to see Asians. I wanted to see lower class, middle class society. It is not that way, I'll tell you that. And I have been in a game here, and I've done tournaments, and it's prohibitive, the cost of the fees to belong to a private club, yacht club, country club, whatever it might be. A public venue, 38 by 25 square yards. That's all I'm looking for, guys, okay? That's it. It's 6 wickets. It's not 9 anymore. We need the wickets, yes, and we need the mallets, and we need the solid balls, and we need the strike balls, so that we can play 2 games at once. And then to have it next to the country club, I haven't been there yet for lunch, but I hear it's great. Then everybody can go in for après croquet, and it's a win-win situation. You have a little time after you play 2 games or whatever. I hope that you will think about this. It's a way of fostering the game and keeping it alive because there's so many 80 and 90-year-olds playing this game right now. And the game is going to die if we don't bring everybody in to the game. It's a wonderful sport, and you all could be, I'll be coaching you. You'd be my first game, okay? Thank you so much.
Ms. Wally, appreciate it. Ken Marsh, Ken, if you come forward and give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
That was very exciting.
Oh, thank you.
Ken Marsh, new address, 2011 Gale Avenue. Last week, in the editorial section of the Beaches Leader, there was a letter there from a person named M.K. Christensen, and it was describing his and her vision for downtown Jacksonville Beach. I don't know if you had a chance to read it. A couple of weeks before that, on the 23rd, the leader had a letter to the editor from Sue Smith describing her vision for the downtown. And I've been up here since 2012, as you know, many, many times. And I've had one sole purpose, and it's been about the downtown, right? And so I sent you a presentation on Friday. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, whether you can. I was hoping you could open it up. But clearly, our downtown is in a state of disrepair. And we've got a long way to go. We can be better than what was shown in that picture, or in those pictures. And I know what we've got planned in 2019. I've read the budget. But we're still going to fall far short of the 2007 vision plan. That's not going to get us where we need to be. So, effective immediately, I have decided that I will be organizing and spearheading a grassroots coalition of Jacks Beach citizens. It'll be called Jacksonville Beach Downtown Vision Coalition. It's got a Facebook page right now. And it will consist of both passive and active Jacks Beach residents who support the 2007 vision plan. I know I am not alone, so I just need to gather like-minded people together to support that vision plan. There are many in our community that don't even know the vision plan exists. So they will help us in spreading the word of the vision plan and assist in achieving its execution. I've got a summary here of what the coalition is all about, if you want to hand that down. It's rather wordy, so I'm certainly not expecting any response right now, but I hope you look it over, and as I say, I put together a Facebook plan. The summary explains the goal, the strategy, and how it's to be built. If you just pass it down. Yeah, okay. It's just one page. Okay. If you have any questions, I just ask that you give me a call, email me. If you're asking what my motivation is for this, it's really nothing more than I believe in the democratic process. I believe the citizens need to get involved, and that the only way that we're going to get the downtown to be what we want it to be is if we get involved. So I hope to help in assisting that. Anyway, that's the update. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you, sir. We did have a special council meeting last Monday to address potential modification of the alcohol ordinance, which would be one of the, what we consider, or at least what I consider to be the first step in that direction. There's also a codicil in the city charter that provides an opportunity for the mayor to elect a special committee to do some investigation, and I'm looking into doing that as well, where we'd be looking at businesses, police officers, restaurants, citizens, and put together maybe somebody from the Community Redevelopment Agency, maybe somebody from the council, so that we're taking a good all-around look and taking inputs from every possible resource. So I appreciate your coalition attempt. We're going to do the same thing from the side of the dais as well, to see what we can do to get a better, cleaner look at a good good approach for downtown, so thank you. I gotta say, I did look at your package and I was a little surprised by the amount of oil stains and things that we got going on downtown, and there's some things that need to be repaired, so that's something we can look at with the staff to make sure that, we're doing the right thing, keeping everything up the way that we should be, so thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
I'll volunteer for committee.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mick DeRocher. Mick, if you come forward, give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Mick DeRocher. I live at 41 Millie Drive, and the website still says courtesy of the floor is 5 minutes. I don't know if you all
Change.
realize that or not. I agree with Ken. The downtown has gotten, out of control, and you could think that's just my opinion, but as soon as we started the paid parking down there, that policy was thrown in the lap of the police department, and they did the presentation about paid parking. It was strictly, all the data came from the police department, and it was all based on, this is gonna cut down crime. Paid parking was gonna cut down crime. Well, I think we had 2 CAPE officers now down there then, and then every year we had 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and this paid parking was supposed to cut down on the crime downtown. And then in the local newspaper, the Beaches Leader, what have you, the other day, it said that is the 2 o'clock closing time. The bar is a problem because it pulls in all the police in the surrounding area and the beach to go downtown to sort things out. So like maybe my neighborhood's not being patrolled or whatever, But it seems to be that it's almost like we have no teeth when we threaten that the rhinos, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It seems like nothing's ever come about on that. So it seems like we could just say, we're gonna roll it back to 10 o'clock. If you're a restaurant, you're a restaurant, but you're allowed to serve alcohol. Let's just roll this thing back to 10 o'clock. And, they'll go nuts and be happy for midnight or whatever, but, we just don't seem to have the atmosphere downtown that everybody up here talks about and wants. It just doesn't come about. And so it's like time to try something new and different. It said something about serving alcohol to people that are inebriated. Well, if I go get my hair cut, the person that cuts my hair has to have a license. Everywhere I go in this town, somebody has to have a license to do something for me, but I can go downtown and get as whacked as I want to. And the person serving me is, doesn't have to qualify, doesn't have to have a license or anything like that. And I don't know if it's in our area to say, like, we're gonna change things, and the owner of the bar or the bartenders, everybody has a document like a driver's license. When you step across the line, you get a little citation or something like that. But as it is now, I guess you can get fired from one of the bars for serving, somebody like that. You go right down to the next bar or whatever. So nobody's really accountable in a sense, even though we say they're accountable. Each individual bartender was educated and knew their license was on the line for their livelihood. Things might change a little bit on serving people that are too hammered. Thank you.
Thanks, Mick, appreciate it. Okay, moving on to agenda item 18173.
I make a motion we accept the financial reports for the month of August 2018 as submitted by the Chief Financial Officer.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson? Yes. Mayor Latham?
Yes, and then we're moving on to 174. And before you read the motion, the next 2 agenda items deal with the appointment of members and alternatives to the Board of Adjustment and the Planning Commission. And I think I'd like to open discussion before we have a motion, because we've kind of gone through a transition a little bit with the previous city manager, how these interviews were conducted. We put together a spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, it lists all the people that have applied for these positions over the last 2 years. And the city clerk's office has done a great job of pulling this all together, and I want us to be able to look at it and have an open discussion before we move forward with any actual nominations. So I'm asking, did everybody get a chance to go through this? Okay. Does anybody want to bring up anything for discussion? Right now, we've got nomination recommendations that came on our package for the Board of Adjustment and also for the Planning Commission. And my question to you is, do you want to discuss alternatives that are available before we address this as a motion? Anybody want to look at anybody on the spreadsheet that wasn't included on the recommendation sheet from the city clerk? Ms. Hoffman?
I'm sorry, this isn't an answer to your question, but I did want to say, I think that the residency requirement is something that we should really take a look at. Obviously, it won't happen in time for these particular decisions, but a residency requirement of 2 years to join one of our boards seems long compared to the residency requirement to run for city council, which is I think 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's something worth considering, especially when we have, which we do in this case, a very qualified candidate that I think would go well on either one of these boards. So I think that's just something we need to consider that we might be knocking out. Maybe we make it a preference or something rather than a hard and fast requirement, unless there's a background there that I'm just not aware of.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the background either. I mean, Madam Clerk, you don't have any insight on that, do you?
No, I don't.
That's okay. That's something that we can certainly look at. Ms. Wilson, you have comments?
Yes, I agree with what Ms. Hoffman said about that, because, you know, maybe it should be shortened up from 2 years, but nevertheless, we have to deal with what we have right now and the rules we have. Another recommendation, because it seems that the board's appointments come up at various times, that we should look at having all the board appointees in at the calendar year at a certain time, so that we've got a spreadsheet, we know who's on board for how long, and I think that would simplify things for us and for the city clerk's office, because you've got staggered terms that are ending here and there, and, you know, keeping tabs on it is kind of difficult. But if we have it all ending at the same time, like August 31st or at the end of the year, starting January 1st, or even with our council election time frame, maybe something to look at.
I think we rotate so that there's people with experience that remain in place.
I know, but if we have a 4-year appointments, they can be every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, but at the same month of the year.
Madam Clerk?
I just wanted to share, we have started that process, and right now all the terms are ending on December 31st of the year, they begin on January 1st. So right now I only have a handful of board members that their terms end staggered, but most everybody else ends on December 31st.
Okay.
So it will be, the ones that are appointed now, that has various times listed, is their appointment will that be extended or?
And on December 31st, whatever the time period is, like 3 years or 4 years from the time.
Okay, so even though we're appointing them for different, like, some of them different time frames than in the past, okay? And then the only other comment I'd like to make is that we basically had 3 qualified candidates and 3 positions open, so it wasn't a matter of, unless somebody had another thought on the candidates. So you basically have to figure out which one is best for which position.
Well, we
So-
did have candidates on the spreadsheet that
Right.
had applied in less than 2 years.
Right, the
So,
one.
Right.
Yeah. But if we don't count that, since the residency requirement wasn't met,
Okay.
so, thank you.
Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor. I was looking at Mr. Walker's application, and I saw that he listed Planning Commission and Community Redevelopment Agency as his only 2 choices. However, on the spreadsheet, it shows that he has listed the Board of Adjustment. So which one is accurate?
I would say whatever's accurate as long as the application. And
See, it looks like it should be CRA.
So in his application, then he has not applied to Board of Adjustment, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me? There's a comment in the fine print that says that he had changed at the interview that he would Board of Adjustment and, or the
Spreadsheet.
Planning Commission on the spreadsheet.
No, because that's not right, because it says he requested BOA changed 1 to 2. BOA was not one of his requested items, it was CRA.
It's just changed it from 1 to 2. It doesn't say he didn't want either one.
He never picked it, so it can't be changed from 1 to 2. That's my point. I think Mr. Thompson is honest. I mean, I think that he meant CRA changed from 2 to 1, not BOA. Would be my assumption.
I think maybe Laurie has a comment, clarification.
Madam Clerk.
I believe that information is correct. I think during that interview is when he presented, he wanted to change those. I know it was a little bit confusing, but I believe he did state that. That's why I documented that.
So I guess I need some clarification. Is he asking to be considered for Board of Adjustment, although his application doesn't reflect that? You said, if I'm understanding, Ms. Scott, that he is now asking to be considered for Board of Adjustment and not Community Development Agency?
During his interview on January the 18th is when he made that comment, during his actual interview. He didn't change his application, he just made that reference.
Thank you.
Ms. Hoffman?
Since the two, I mean, I would assume that we would do what we typically do as far as filling vacancies with the alternates, and that would leave us with 2 second alternate positions open. Is it okay if we just leave those positions open for the time being? Because I feel like we're just kind of trying to plug people into open spots, and I'd really rather have a more extensive list. So maybe we do Beach's Leader, if you're watching this right now, maybe an article in the paper about recruiting some potential new board members, and see if we can drum up some new applications, or maybe refresh some of the prior applications that had expired, instead of trying to force fill these 2 open positions since they're second alternates.
I might take it a step further. I agree with your thought of not doing second alternates tonight, but I would think potentially what we ought to do is maybe have the clerk let's do a workshop, and let's take a look at the whole process. Let's get the dates figured out. Yes, sir. Yeah, come on up.
I understand the consternation, Bill, me and Planning Director. Some of these positions have lapsed now that I have a problem in some meetings filling a quorum. And I can't do that, with all respect to all the applicants. Some people have closings that are depending on their scheduled application. If I can't field a quorum for these meetings, it becomes very problematic. And I'm at the point now, and without even naming names, I've got a gentleman who's on the Board of Adjustment who wants to be reappointed. His term expired last month, and he still hasn't, whoever his replacement has not been appointed. It puts that board in my department in a very awkward position, trying to keep applications going forward and not even be able to guarantee that I can have a quorum. Because if it goes to the next meeting, if I've already got a full meeting, it starts, I think you understand, it's a snowballing effect. So I'm not trying to tell you who to put on these meetings, but we've got to make sure we keep it in a timely fashion.
So you're suggesting that if we hold off on the 2 second alternates, that might create a quorum issue for you?
Well, but, and it's not specific for any one of the meetings or any one of my specific boards right now, but the alternates are available to fill when an active member can't be there. So it's just as important to have both of the alternates filled as it is the active member.
We spoke before about doing away with alternates altogether and making everybody a voting member. Did you remember Susan Early was in on that discussion? Did she ever give you any feedback?
No, sir. That's the first I've heard about that.
Okay.
I would have an opinion about it at some point, but
That's
the first I've heard
something else
about
we
that.
can consider in our workshop. Well, just, I think a lot of the alternates say I'm an alternate, and I'm hungry, I'm gonna stay home and have dinner. If they're on a board member, they might be more inclined to be there and participate.
With respect, that does not tend to be my experience. We've had one person recently that was like that, but that does not seem to fit the bill generally in terms of my
So
experience.
generally speaking, the second alternates are usually there pretty much right?
Yes, sir. Actually, more over the last 4, 5, 6 years, the alternates have wanted to embrace it. We've always invited them. I never require an alternate to be at a meeting, but we tell them, look, you might as well get comfortable with it. The only thing you can't do is vote. We tell them if you're at the meeting, you're behind the dais, you're welcome to engage in conversation. You just have to stop short of voting. Most people embrace that because they don't want to be on the spot when they're actually called into active duty. So I just don't want, I want to stress the importance of having the alternate positions filled as well.
So your recommendation for this evening is that we try and scramble through to get second alternates for these two positions?
Unless there's an impasse and you really don't feel you have active candidates. Yes, sir. I mean, that's always because you can talk to the clerk. It's very rare that we have a dearth of applications in the background. Fortunately, lately, we've been able to fully fill our alternate positions. Several years ago, we weren't even able to do that.
This has been an ongoing issue for 6 years.
Yes, sir. And believe me, I don't try to interrupt the proceedings, but I just...
No. All I'm saying is that this is, I think, why it's important that we have a workshop with the clerk and let's sit down and figure out how we're going to do this once and for all. Because we're caught like this, it seems like every year, where we're not really sure the best way to move forward because we don't have all the data we need, and we're taking what recommendations come from the clerk's office because this person is available, and we may have overlooked 2 or 3 that were applied before. And so I don't know. What do you guys think? You want to push through with the second alternates tonight, or
Does Moreland need to be reappointed to be able to vote right now, Bill, or does he continue to serve?
Mr. Moreland's off the board right now.
So we can handle the second alternates, and then we could reappoint Moreland to give them one voting member, and then we'll table the second alternate. That would be my suggestion.
Moreland's gone, right? You said Moreland's gone?
No, it's not.
Oh, he wants to be. I'm sorry. I misunderstood what he
And
said.
then Snyder is
So my motion would be to reappoint Mr. Moreland to the Board of Adjustment, and then to table the second alternates until we have a workshop.
you have a motion for moving the second alternate to the first alternate as well.
Yeah. So
Before he made that motion, I had my light on, but I guess that doesn't make any difference.
well, no, you can
Well, now we can discuss.
go ahead. What's your point?
Bill, would you come back up a minute?
Sure.
I was on the Board of Adjustment 8 years, and our alternates did come into play. And the last time I was here for I can't even think of a variance.
Board of Adjustment.
There were only 4 here, so it could have gone 2-2. So to me, I'm okay if we if we delay it, but to me, we'd be doing a disservice to you and the boards if we don't act on it promptly. That's my opinion.
Well, and through the chair, it's doing the respect to the applicants. It's not even to the board. The boards are working to serve. If they can't be there, they can't be there. And I understand that people travel, people have health issues, but that's a fact. But the whole thing is that the applicants count on these things. A lot of them are depending on real estate closings, whatnot. They need to be able to, they pay their money, hey, we need to be heard on this date. And then they find out, sometimes it's up to the night of the meeting. It's like, well, we don't have a quorum tonight. We're sorry. You're just going to have to be put back in the mix.
How often does that happen?
I don't keep track of it, but in the last year, it's happened more than I have wanted it to.
I'd like to be notified when that happens and we can't make a quorum on a committee. Because,
Okay.
this is, that would accelerate this concern.
And we should know that before reappointment. If we're not getting good attendance, if somebody's not attending, we need to know that.
Oh, that's
before
true,
reappointment.
because they're selected and represented by us.
It's not a monthly occurrence. I mean, I'm not trying to over dramatize it. It's not a monthly occurrence, but anytime it happens, it can be problematic.
Okay.
Well, when I was here, there were 4 with the person I was with, and you indicated you could go ahead, but it could be a split vote. And so even though you got 4, you don't have a quorum, really. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomason?
Thank you, Mayor. For Ms. Scott, and I'm sorry, I should have noted this before. We're in the same situation with Mr. Cater. He indicates on his application, CRA was first, Board of Adjustment second, and on the chart, he's got it reversed. So can I assume the same situation arises, that he changed his mind and wanted to switch and have Board of Adjustment be his first choice, since he filled out his application?
Mr. Cater?
Yes, Mr. Cater.
CRA went, CRA went from 1 to 2, and the BLA went from 2 to 1. We just swapped those two.
So he did make a request subsequent to his application to put Board of Adjustment as number one.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Doherty?
Thank you. It sounds like we definitely need to streamline this process, multiple aspects of it, but I think we might as well push forward with this now, because if we're going to schedule a workshop and then by the time it comes to is in form of a council meeting or a vote, it could be a few months. So I'd like to push ahead with this, and then but also be prompt about revamping the whole system. I mean, the biggest thing that jumps out to me, like Christine mentioned, is the residency requirement. I think that would actually deter people from doing it. We want to make this a process that citizens can get involved in without having to sign some mortgage paperwork. So I think if we make it easy to serve and we make it a educational position, we'll get more people applying. But that's up to us. We have to change the rules on it. So, like I said, I think we should just proceed as it's printed tonight.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, when is the next vacancy? If we were to fill all the vacancies tonight, do you know when the next vacancy would be?
December 31st, 2018.
Okay, so if we do push through and get these alternate positions filled, we're gonna have a workshop, come up with a policy, and probably have 2 council meeting readings to modify the ordinance. So that's gonna make it pretty tight. I mean, I'm okay with doing that if you guys are amenable to putting in some extra hours to get it done. We've got 2 kind of motions hanging in the air. One, I think you may have wanted to modify to include completing or filling the first alternate position with the second alternate and leaving the second alternate.
I'm gonna withdraw that based on what Keith said.
Okay.
I'm okay with going forward,
Okay.
especially since we have another vacancy in December.
Okay.
So we'll be able to address it.
So, you mind making your motion again, Mr. Doherty, for the clerk?
My motion is to consider or continue with the action requested as it's listed.
Okay. Since that's the path we're heading on anyway, I don't think we need a vote, so. Are you guys ready to move forward with the recommendations provided by the clerk?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, we'll go ahead and start with the motion. This is the original motion.
Okay, I think we should take these separately, one at a time.
Actually, they
So-
are separate.
Okay. I make a motion that we nominate John Moreland for reappointment to the Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2021.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson? Yes. Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Next one.
I make a motion that we nominate Lucas Snyder as the first alternate with a term expiring December 31st, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson? Yes. Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Now,
Okay, on the next
the
one,
next one, we've got to have a nomination from the floor. Is there a nomination on the floor, including you, Ms. Wilson?
I make a motion that we nominate the second alternate with the term expiring December 31st, 2019 to Gary Cater.
Cater. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion by the council? Ms. Wilson?
Yes, my reasoning behind it was that we have 3 open positions. We have 3 qualified candidates, and looking at their bios and what they had requested, and that's how I came up with, okay, we put him here, and we got the other 2 for the planning commission.
Okay.
So, that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Vogelsang?
My nomination would be Mr. Walker, so I'd vote no for Mr. Cater due to Mr. Cater's choice was Board of Adjustment as a second choice.
clerk confirm that he changed it to.
Oh, so he changed his, okay, no, so then I'll
Withdraw.
withdraw it.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, this is for Cater filling the second alternate spot of the Board of Adjustment. Madam Clerk, need a roll call, please?
Councilmember Thomason,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Buck,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman. Yes. Mayor Latham.
Yes. Now moving on to Agenda 175, which is the same process for the Planning Commission. And you can go and start with the first motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we nominate Margot Mooring for for appointment to the Planning Commission for a new 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2021.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Buck,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman. Yes. Councilmember Thomason,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and now we're seeking nominations for the first and second alternate for the Planning Commission. Floor is open for nominations. Mr. Vogelsang,
I would nominate Mr. Walker as the first alternate.
is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other nominations from the floor? Okay, any discussion? We got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Buck,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman. Yes. Councilmember Thomason,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes.
Okay, the
I'm sorry. We're looking for nominations for the floor for second alternate.
I make a motion that
Yes,
we
ma'am.
nominate Bill Span.
Ma'am.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other nominations from the floor? Okay, any discussion? Mr. Vogelsang.
Do we have any issues with this one as far as a quorum? Because if we can open up applicants, I would move to table a second alternate so we can get somebody that actually has it as their first choice, because we're nominating somebody as their second choice. Would be my take, unless, Bill, are we having issues with the planning commission and getting people there? If we're giving you Margot and a first alternate today, and then potentially my motion would be to table
Fantasy
the
football.
second alternate.
I don't have an alternate proposal. No, I understand, I wasn't prepared to go down into that level of depth that you're talking about right now. I will tell you honestly though, between first and second, if they've been to either one of the meetings or if they talked to staff about either one, I don't know. If they're saying that they're willing to serve, this is ideally what I'd like to do, but I'd also be willing to do that, and we have a need to be filled, that's kind of how I would look at it, sir.
And I'll tell you that Bill Span is the Veterans Affairs Coordinator for Mayor Curry in Jacksonville, and he and I spent some time together on the Queen Elizabeth, and during that meeting, he said that he wasn't committed to one over the other. He said, I'll do anything you guys want us to do.
Go ahead.
You know,
That's good enough for me.
that's in for. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second for Bill Span, second alternative for the Planning Commission. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buck,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman. Yes. Councilmember Thomason,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, I'd ask that you get with the city manager and start paying out a couple of, put a format together that can kind of meet all this criteria, and then let us know a few weeks in advance so that we can find a time that's amenable for everybody. And let's workshop this and get it done.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda 18-176, please.
I make a motion that we award bid number 1718-24 to Gresco Inc. for the purchase of a 2,500 kVA distribution transformer.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson.
Baptist Medical Center is expanding its surgical facilities, which requires an upgrade to their electric service. Beaches Energy has recently upgraded 2 transformers at the hospital from 1,500 kVA to 2,500 kVA. Because it takes 10 to 12 months to receive these transformers, we are recommending that we purchase a third 2,500 kVA transformer to use as spare to have on hand. just so to ensure continuity at Beaches Baptist. We solicited and received 3 bids. Bresco was the lowest bidder at a total cost of $40,835. That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, did you want us?
Jameson, anything to add?
You good? Okay. Any comments from the council? I think it's good to have a shelf ready available for the hospital, no question about it. So.
If I may add.
Yeah.
It is standard practice for us to have ready spares available, also known as any size transfer we have in our system. We have multiple spares. This is the first time we've used a 2500 kVA in our system. So Baptist Beaches has the first 2 ever. Okay, so we do have a justified need to have a third ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. And do you want to talk about was this in the budget? This is usually Ms. Wilson's question, but her light didn't come on.
Yes, it was in the operating budget for the current year.
Okay.
I did see that. Just in case you were wondering, I did see that in the notes.
Okay, any other discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsong?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes, and Madam Clerk, please read Resolution 2022-2018 by title only, please.
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, establishing golf course fees and establishing definitions and guidelines for the golf operation.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-2018, establishing rates for the Jacksonville Beach Golf Course.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
The golf course has been closed for renovation since January of this year. We are expecting to reopen. Now we are projecting for October 13th, the opening date. So to ensure a successful operation after we open, we've been reviewing our business model, including the rate structure. We found that we currently have over 70 different rates out there. It's a structure that is cumbersome, it's hard for us to manage, and we are recommending that we streamline those rates to provide better operational efficiency and to make us more competitive in the local market. Some of the notable changes to the rate structure: annual membership dues are going to $175 for non-residents and $125 for Beaches Energy Services residential customers. Open rates increased by 7%, with one exception. The weekend riding rate increased by 15%, or $5.62. But that rate still remains below our closest competitors. We will allow weekend walking only afternoon, and the rate for walking is going to be the same as the riding rate on weekends. Driving range fees are going from $3.74 a bucket to $5.61. That's $6 with tax. And again, that is competitive with the local area courses. City employees who meet certain criteria may play for the membership rate. Afternoon rates, those were formerly our twilight rates. They begin at 1 o'clock during daylight savings time and 12 noon during Eastern Standard Time. And we added a true twilight rate at 4 o'clock during daylight savings time and 3 o'clock during Eastern Standard Time. That's to attract the play after 4 o'clock. This is a comparison of our revised rates with some of the local area golf courses that we consider to be our closest competitors. And as you can see, we're competitive. These are our open rates only. For weekdays, 18 holes and 9 holes, and weekend, 18 holes and 9 holes, and then our driving range rates.
That's card included?
Yes.
That's card included. This is before tax. All rates are before tax for ours and the competitors.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Could you go back to
Questions?
one more, go back forward one slide? Employees meet certain criteria. What kind of criteria?
They have to be budgeted for 20 hours a week. So by that we mean regularly scheduled employees, budgeted employees who work at least half-time. They may play for the membership rate, and we will waive the membership fee for employees who meet that criteria.
Thank you. And just also for clarification, the walking rate the same as the riding rate on weekends. That's to discourage walkers on weekends when we're most crowded. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. It tends to slow play.
Okay. Mr. Buck?
First of all, last meeting, we indicated we'd like to in fact, it was at our workshop, that we would like to see be included in emails and pictures and what was going on. And since that time, we've been well informed, and the pictures are beautiful, and can't wait to get out there. I just have, which won't change anything, I thought this was well done. But having paid $8 for a bucket of balls at Blue Sky multiple times, you did make, this was probably done prior to them increasing to $8, but they're not $6, they're $8.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomason?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to echo Councilman Buck's comments. Please thank Lorraine Trindle. She has done a really outstanding job with the pictures and the explanations about it. Really appreciate that. And second thing, on the second page of the resolution, I am confused about something, and I hope someone can educate me. The subsection L at the bottom, when it refers to annual pass and refers to no more passes shall be issued as of January 1st, 2002. And I'm just wondering, what's that about?
We, in the past, we did issue annual passes. We discontinued that process in 2002, but those pass holders, we grandfathered them in. So we allowed them to continue to renew their annual passes. We now have, is it 6 or 4? 6 current pass holders that we're allowing them to continue to use their annual passes until they no longer want to use those annual passes. So we kept this in the resolution only to tell us how to charge a rate for those current pass holders. They can renew their pass every year.
Is that being raised with CPI or something?
Yes, it is being raised. It's actually a function of the writing rate. It's a function of the rate. It's a multiplier or addition or subtraction. Discount on the current rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't mean to be morbid, but they can't be passed along in a wheel.
No, they cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Volgeson?
Did we decide that we weren't going to offer a driving range discount for members?
We decided instead to lower the membership fees. I know when we talked to you all at the briefing a couple of weeks ago, we were proposing a higher membership fee. I believe it was $225 for annual memberships and $175 for Beaches Energy Services customers. We've lowered that to $175 and $125 for the annual membership rates.
What's the discount for the golf for the membership?
It's 20%.
20%? Okay. Thank you.
Just so I'm clear, before you do Mr. Doherty, 20% off the advertised price is what the membership?
20% off the open rates, right, Jason? Yes.
Okay. Mr. Doherty?
Yeah, just one thing I noticed, it's probably not going to be very popular, but there's a thing in here about city council members qualifying for membership rates. I don't like that. I think it's kind of self-serving. I know we're in the spotlight a lot, especially in social media. I prefer to eliminate that. I believe with city employees should get the membership rates, but I don't think city council should. If any are short money, I can spot you $20 to play, but I'd like to actually remove that. Or discuss removing.
So I just want to point out if that's what you all want to do, we're happy to do that. The city council would still be eligible for the Beaches Energy residential customer membership rate.
Yeah. Are you making a motion, Mr. Doherty?
I am. I'd like to make a motion to remove city council members qualify for membership rates.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor. Same issue that I raised here a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it, and I understand, I guess, by definition, we're considered city employees, but I'm really uncomfortable with this whole idea of naming our position separately just from the standard city employee. I really don't support this.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, is this toward the motion, Ms. Wilson?
I would just have another question about the fees.
Okay,
No,
let's
no.
deal with the motion first.
Okay.
We got a motion and a second on the floor to remove city council from the special designation on the ordinance for pricing, or resolution for pricing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Okay, now we're going back to the overall resolution and going to Ms. Wilson.
I have a question about the annual pass. Some of these things I didn't know existed, but the annual pass for residents, if they have an annual pass, do they still pay the fees? But it's 20%, did you say, discount if they have an annual pass? Or the membership? And annual pass and
Annual
membership?
passes as opposed to membership
Yes.
rates, okay,
What's the
they're two separate things.
Yes.
The membership rates, you pay these prices and you get to play at the member rate, which is a 20% discount. For annual passes, and again, there are only 6 annual pass holders, they may renew their annual pass for $345 for residents or $520 for non-residents. And they have a separate rate in the rate structure. It is a deeper discount for their annual pass holders.
Do we know what it is? Is it, I didn't see it on the
Annual
schedule.
pass.
Or maybe I missed it.
Annual
Oh,
pass rates are on your rate
Right,
schedule
I see it,
under
yeah.
the junior.
Annual member dues, is that?
Annual pass rates. If you look in the upper portion of the rate schedule, not a comparison, the attachment A to the resolution.
Okay.
Number 5.
Okay, got it.
Senior, junior, and then annual pass. Those are the rates for the annual pass holders.
So they still have to pay something?
They still have to pay. It's just a deeper discount.
Okay.
And it, again, it's a function of whatever the open rate is. It's a discount, a set discount off the open rate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion about the resolution in general? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes, Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 2023-2018 by title only, please.
A resolution amending the City of Jacksonville Beach position classification and pay plan for managerial, professional, administrative, and unclassified non-union positions effective September 17, 2018. I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2023-2018, amending the position classification and pay plan for managerial, professional, administrative, and unclassified non-union positions to add a golf course facility manager position effective September 17, 2018.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. These resolution numbers are the same? No, I'm sorry, I misread it. I apologize. Okay, Ms. Nelson.
Our review of the golf course operations also included an assessment of our current positions, our management positions, and our staffing levels. We identified the need for a golf course facility manager. This person will successfully market the golf course, develop and monitor budgets, supervise and motivate staff and the golf instructors, and manage the facility, including the pro shop, clubhouse, and restaurant. The facility manager will assume the responsibilities that are currently performed by the golf professional, plus there will be additional responsibilities for that position. The golf professional position is being removed from the pay plan in this resolution. We will still have golf professionals at the golf course that will continue to give lessons in Jacksonville Beach. It will be on a contract basis. So the golf professionals will not be on the payroll. They will still be giving lessons under contract. In addition to the new position, we intend to employ 2 full-time and 2 part-time golf shop attendants. We have in the past employed up to 9 part-time employees. So we intend to give them, the golf shop employees, more hours and have fewer employees to provide better continuity of service and better internal controls. Because this is a reorganization, no budget adjustment will be necessary. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Vogelsang?
We kind of touched on this when we had a workshop on it, but I think we'd be severely limiting potentially quality candidates if we require a bachelor's degree for that position, and if we require progressive managerial experience in a golf club.
Well, we are allowing some flexibility in the job description for a combination of education and experience so that we can consider someone with an extensive background who may be well qualified for the job.
Or that would, so that isn't a hardcore, the bachelor's degree is not.
It's not.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the council or inputs? Mr. Doherty?
Yeah, I just had a quick question, and this is like a general question, but it's relevant for this and potentially for other positions. Are we able to incentivize or add commission to some of these posts? I was just thinking about whoever's chosen for this position. There's several factors that motivate people. Money's one of them, probably the main one. So, I see the pay scale starts at 43 and tops out at 71. Are we allowed to do that? I'm not saying we have to do it with this, I'm just saying, thinking out loud, are we allowed to do that with these positions where we can add a type of incentive?
The current pay plan doesn't allow for that, as you said, but that's something that we would have to bring to council. You all would have to vote on if we wanted to add any sort of incentive or additional pays for one position. I will tell you that would be unusual for us. We tend to look at our pay plan holistically and consider what is equitable, across the board for our employees. Keep in mind, it's not just salary. We do have benefits that we're able to offer.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about this uniquely, because essentially he or she will be looking to maximize profit. It is being run as a business, and maybe he or she will be motivated enough with the new position for a year or two. But if I think we'd all like to see this golf course to at least maintain itself financially. It'd be great if we could give something back to the taxpayers. And I just think that it's worth considering sometimes to add financial incentives. I know we're going to market this, and we're going to, and that's part of their job is to market it and make it work. So, I think it's a decent position. It's going to be difficult. It's challenging, but I'm all for it. I still think that we need people to give lessons. But I know you mentioned that.
Absolutely. We're planning to retain, I assume that we will continue to be 3 golf pros who will be under contract, but they won't be on the payroll. They will give lessons under contract. Those fees are collected through the city, and then we pay out the golf pros and we retain a percentage of those fees.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, any other comments from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes, and I should have done this earlier on, but we were just really busy on the agenda. I see one young man out there. Are you in Miss Phillips' class? No, not you. Are you in the Boy Scouts? No. How about this gentleman in the red shirt?
Yes, sir.
Which are, come on up to the podium. Tell us who you are, what grade you're in, and why you're here.
I'm Shane Lee, and I'm here because I'm earning my communications merit badge by going to a city council meeting and then addressing this group later on next week.
Great. Thanks for being here, Shane. Appreciate it. You want to come up too?
While he's coming up, I want to point out that it's actually his mom who's here working on a responsibility for a class she's taking.
Okay, now you're gonna get credit here too. So what's your name?
My name is Vincent Will.
I came here because my mom wanted me to come here.
Let's hear it for Vincent and his mom. Okay, thank you guys. Any of you other old people work, are you here with Ms. Phillips or anything? Okay. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2018-8110, second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance
To amend an ordinance enacting and establishing a comprehensive land development regulation and official zoning map for the incorporated area of the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as authorized by Chapter 163.3202, Florida statutes, by amending Article 7, Zoning Districts, Division 2, Section 34-346, Industrial District, I-1, Paragraph B, Permitted Uses, to add tour operators as subparagraph 20, to repeal ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith and for other purposes. I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2018-8110, amending the land development code to add tour operators to the list of permitted uses in the city's industrial I-1 zoning districts. Applicant go Tucking.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson.
The applicant is planning to lease an existing warehouse tenant space at 1250 Shutter Avenue for the proposed business Go Tuckin'. This is a business of tour operations, which provides a variety of mobile tours to residents and visitors to the beaches area. The building space will be used for the tour operator's office and for indoor storage of the tour vehicles. The proposed location is in an industrial I-1 zoning district. Currently, tour operators are not listed as permitted use in any zoning district, so this will amend the land development code to add tour operators to the list of permitted uses in the city's industrial I-1 zoning districts. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. This is second reading. This is not new to us, so I'm just going to open the floor to the council if you have any additional comments or questions. And seeing none, roll call, please. Vote. Yep. Aye, Gazal.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I apologize. I was not available at staff meeting last week because I was out of town. Anytime we amend the code to add or delete permitted or conditional uses, both readings are public hearings, so we technically need to open and close the public hearing. It was properly advertised.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll open the floor for public comment. Is there anybody that would like to discuss this under public comment? Seeing none, I'm closing the floor for public comment. We've had our review and no discussion from the council, so Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. And Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2018-8111, second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 5, Animals and Fowl, Article 2, Dogs and Cats, Division 1 in general, Section 5-36 reserved, adding neglect, abandonment, confinement, tethering for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. I make a motion we adopt ordinance number 2018-8111, amending Chapter 5 of the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinance by adding Section 5-36 titled Neglecting, Abandoning Animals, Animals Confinement, Tethering.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. This is also a second reading. Did you have anything to add from your previous briefing?
No.
Okay, any additional comments from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks very much. Have a great night.